Well, good evening, my Alzheimer's and dementia support group friends. If you're watching live, comment live. Watching on a replay, comment replay. We are here in our GeriHab show, wherein we answer some questions with regards to Alzheimer's and dementia inside our Alzheimer's and dementia support group. Well, anyway, good evening, my friends there. Let's go ahead and answer some questions with regards to Alzheimer's and dementia tonight. So the first anonymous or the question here says here, does anyone feel as their loved ones gets deeper and deeper into the disease, they get crazier and crazier and meaner and meaner? I feel that when my mom finally passes, I'm going to hate her, and we used to be so close. I mean, I can't even stand being near her, and sometimes she's so nasty and she doesn't see it. Does anyone feel like that? I feel like I'm going to hit her, and when she dies, I'm sad about that. So it's pretty understandable that that goes. Well, first of all, I'm sorry that your mother is going through this. This is not just a her disease. It's actually a family disease, right? I mean, everybody is affected, not just her, but also the family, immediate family. So let me go through the different stages. Okay, there are different stages of Alzheimer's and dementia, but they also go through this what you call the Kubler-Ross stages of grief. So the first two stages, the first stage is what you call the denial stage. They will deny that they can still do this and they can still do that and attempt to do what they used to do before when in fact they can't do it anymore, just like cooking and cleaning and driving. The question is, they may be able to do it, they may be able to drive, they may be able to cook, but the thing of it is, are they safe to do it? So that's the first stage, okay? The first stage. The second stage is what you call the anger or humor stage. Why anger? Because they cannot do what they used to do before. Why anger? Because they can express themselves anymore. Why anger? Because they cannot do and say what they're feeling. And that's what probably what your mother is going through. She's on that stage. All right. As they get, as they get worse on that Alzheimer's or dementia, whatever you want to call it, or what kind of diagnosis this is, they're going to be angry. I'm obviously English is not my first language. When I get sick, I don't want to talk to my kids. I don't want to talk to my to I don't want to talk in English. I just want to talk to my beautiful wife who speaks my native language. Okay, that makes sense. And same thing when you have when you have Alzheimer's or dementia. They become angrier because they cannot express themselves. Okay, we have what you call in therapy, we have what you call the 80 the 60 the 90-second rule. It takes them 90 seconds to respond when you ask them question. If they cannot respond and process that information in their brain, they're just going to get mad. Okay, so that's the second stage, anger or humor, or because they're just humorous, they just mask it with humor. Okay, next stage is what you call the bargaining stage. They're going to start bargaining with you, bargaining with priest or god or any higher being, and they're just going to start bargaining. Imagine, sometimes I would assume your mom, she would be so mean to you. You just, just be upset at you, angry at you all the time. And then when there's somebody coming in, like a neighbor or a family, or when they go to the doctor, they're like all nice and very respectful. Okay, so that's the stage they're bargaining. Okay, next stage, what you call the depression stage. They're gonna be depressed. They don't want to do anything. They just want to stay in bed. They just want to stay in their chair, in their couch, or their power recliner. Now, when you hit that stage there, the depression stage, they need to do three things, okay? Three things in order for them to move on to the next stage. A lot of people, they just get stuck in the depression stage. The depression needs to be, if it's a true clinical diagnosis of depression, they need to be treated. So three things needs to be done when a person is in that depression stage, okay? First thing is medication management. You need to talk, you need to go to the doctor, nurse practitioner, a PA, whoever, to take care of that medication management. Why? Because those medication will release certain hormones. What are the hormones that you want to release in your when you're in that depression stage? First is your dopamine. Dopamine is like it's like a happy hormone. Remember when you're high, when for example you're in the 60s and the 70s, they would say, hey man, we're dope, right? It's the dopamine. Release that certain dopamine in your body. It's a hormone. When you're what you call this, when you're in the phone, we're watching, watching TV, scrolling in your phone, there's a dopamine release there. You need to release that certain dopamine in your body. Next is what you call your oxytocin. Oxytocin is another hormone. that you want to release is a love hormone. What does it sound like? Sounds like oxycodone, right? So you release that certain hormone. Next is what you call the serotonin. Serotonin is another hormone that you need to release in order for you to be happy. You know, it's called sounds like what kind of medication that it sounds like? Sounds Seroquel, right? And then the last hormone that you want to release when you're in that depression stage is what you call the endorphins. Endorphins is like what does it sound like? Morphine, right? And it releases a certain hormone, you know, to pump you up. So that's the different hormones that you want to release when you are in that depression stage. The next stage, obviously, the last stage is what you call the acceptance stage or the end stage. So that's what probably your mother is experiencing. She's on that certain stage. You know, you were talking about, you know, does anyone feel as their loved one gets deeper and deeper into this disease, they get crazier and crazier and meaner and meaner? Yes, it's the disease. That's the disease that they're going through. It's just a process. Just to be honest, it's going to get worse if you don't manage it. So you got to manage it. My daughter was asking me the other day, "Hey, is there treatment or is there a cure for it?" Unfortunately, there's no cure. So a lot of people, you know, we've been penetrated by scammers here in our group, or in our Alzheimer's group, and we've got lots of scammers, you know, pretending that they can heal and cure Alzheimer's, you know, and unfortunately, there's no cure for it yet. Okay, it's irreversible. There are two types, you know, the reversible and irreversible. To be honest, the irreversible is the true Alzheimer's. Okay, you know, you got the Parkinson's type and everything like that. There's what you call the reversible ones, when you know when it's like you have UTI, urinary tract infection, that can mimic dementia. Recent surgery that can also mimic Alzheimer's and dementia. You got the cancer that is treatable that can also mimic dementia. Dehydration that can also mimic dementia. And those are the treatable ones. But if you see a person selling in our group, hey, this herbal guy selling stuff, and they say they can cure dementia, report it to us. We will happily block them in our group. Okay, so be cautious of that. Okay, all right. Next question that we see here. There's another question. My mother seems to be losing more of her mobility, mostly due to inactivity, but she also struggles with arthritis. Obviously, right? I'm thinking physical therapy might help. Yes, of course. At least minimize the atrophy. Do your loved one gets PT assistance? Yes, you need to get therapy, and you need to get a good physical therapist, not just it takes a special therapist to treat an Alzheimer's or dementia patient. You need to look for a certified dementia practitioner or a geriatric practitioner, because not all therapists are trained to treat Alzheimer's and dementia. Because if a person or a patient just refuses, if the Alzheimer's or dementia patient just refuses, some therapists who are not trained, they'll just put down, "Hey, she's refusing." But there are ways for you to find, you know, to make it meaningful. I was just with a patient, not patient, I was with my friend earlier, and she was just amazed with what we do with our clients. What we do is actually find that meaningful activity for our clients. If our client personally, this is a great question for me, by the way, thank you for posting that. If a client, for example, likes carpentry, you know, we find ways how to, you know, find, you know, woodworking. If we have a client who just likes cooking, there was a time I was, uh, you know, asking the patient to cook for us. So every Friday, I would go to his house and he would cook for me. Imagine that. That's a very meaningful activity. And of course, you have to find ways to how to push them to the next level. You know, so I would ask them to go up and down their steps. Hey, let's go up and get your ingredients upstairs or whatever. So it needs to be meaningful, purposeful, and specific. All right. If you got any questions, shoot us a message. Send us a message in our Facebook group or post it in our private group, the Alzheimer's and Dementia Support Group. Again, I wish you all the best. Be awesome, be great, be excellent, and I will see you later, my Facebook and Alzheimer's and Dementia Support Group friends. Bye bye.